everybody. It's Linda G, and I'm here with your favorite guy, Sterling.
Good morning to everybody and happy Thanksgiving week here to those who are celebrating
Happy
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Um, Sterling just said, so you got your boat ready?
exactly. All the rain up in Northern California.
I actually have a blow-up boat that's pretty sturdy, pretty heavy, that would be able to hold me and Jeff and the dogs if needed.
You never need one of those till you need it.
So you,
It's
you
like
just
it's like
never
once in a
know.
lifetime situation. And a lot of people, back east found they really needed boats. Yeah,
Yeah. And I even collect long-term food, food that they sell that you can keep for many years. I have
sure.
that too, and I have tons of
Survival,
water,
survival food kits. Yeah.
survival food. Because the worst thing is if there was no food. Okay, my friend, let's do this. Okay, and we are recording. Our first question, thank you guys for the questions, and thank you to Linda for going through and Dan.
Exactly.
Hi, Sterling and Linda. Can you look into the Dems energy and find out why they are not pursuing 45 and the Republican cheating this past election?
Well, what I get on that is there's a very active investigation going on behind the scenes across many areas of government and security and voter regulations. I get there's a lot of activity going on behind the scenes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just too quiet.
Well, my interpretation of that is they want to really be sure before they spill the beans, before they come out and say, now we know factually here X, Y, Z. That's my interpretation of what's going on here behind the scenes. Yeah.
Okay, that's good news. Will anything come of Stephen Spoonamore's letter to Kamala?
I think that's part of the investigation. That was a very well-written letter regarding voter irregularities and counting irregularities, and yeah, I think that's all part of a larger investigation now. Yeah.
Will 45 really get rid of the Department of Education and fire hundreds of people in the Department of Justice?
It looks like he won't, for me, he won't get rid of the entire organization or Department of Education, but he's definitely going to get a big reduction. So whether that means a third of the people or 50% of the people, something like that, because it looks like it's not going to happen right away. There's going to be some sort of a rollout where they start reducing the number of people on the Board of Education, something like that.
Yeah. Um, believe it or not, we're going to fight hard.
Hmm.
So anything he tries to pull. But do you see, it's kind of too far ahead of time. FYI, do you see blue Congress, blue Senate in the second year?
It sure looks that way, yeah, because
Yeah, because people are going to be so upset.
a lot of the voting irregularities, they go up and down the ticket. So not just the top of the ticket, but all the way down, through everything. So provisional votes that weren't counted and other votes thrown away and other data center irregularities, which I talked about in a show I did. So there's a whole spoonful of things going on here so it's going to affect down ticket as well. Yeah.
Okay. Will Elon Musk buy MSNBC? They are up for sale now.
Not completely up for sale yet, but it does look to me like he's going to make a run at it. He is going to make a run at it. Yeah, Comcast spun off MSNBC, CNBC to a separate company because they weren't as profitable. The working name is SpinCo right now. But it looks like Elon Musk will make a run at it, and I think he might even get Joe Rogan involved.
Yeah, but you know what? My personal hit psychically is
Mhm.
that Elon Musk days are numbered. Something major
Don't
is
know how
going
to
to happen.
interpret that.
Not that he's going to
Oh,
be killed.
yeah.
Something major is coming up that involves, I don't know, is some underhanded stuff. Maybe even they find out he tried to uh, do something with the voting. But I see the United States saying, adios, amigos. But he could try. He's talking about trying to buy MSNBC.
Yeah, and I think he's going to make an offer. I don't know if they're going to accept it, but I think he's going to make an offer.
Yeah, somebody with more money is gonna buy it. I just heard that. Okay, JD Vance scares me more than 45. Where does he fit this circus going forward?
I see him running around behind the scenes in a lot of locations, even worldwide, like talking up 45's policy. It's almost like a puppet to the whole thing, like he has a talk track and running around the world and just completely speaking on behalf of Trump. I don't see him taking any kind of a unique pathway towards helping in a certain sector of government. It looks like more of a mimicking and puppeting whatever 45 says. Yeah.
So, they were trying to change it to Project whatever, 2020.
2025,
You
huh?
don't see him pushing that agenda.
Well, no, that is 45's agenda.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. So I think on 45 site they called it Agenda 45, Agenda
Okay.
45 or Agenda 47, but it really is Project 2025.
Because, he couldn't be anything without Trump. Nobody liked him.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Will women lose their right to buy property in the coming years with the new administration?
I don't see that taking effect. No, I'm not sure where that question comes from. I do see more diligence around, validation of income and taxes and things like that. And the whole real estate industry has gone through a paradigm shift, as I talked about a year or two ago was coming. But no, I don't see that limiting women's ability to buy property. No.
Yeah, that's trying to go back to the days women had no rights. And even though
Right.
they love to talk about it and it's better for women not to vote, I don't see that happening.
I agree.
Okay, since they've been on Earth for so many thousands of years, do the ETs have any archival material for history? For instance, would they have a video of Lincoln delivering the Gettysburg Address?
Completely. All the sophisticated extraterrestrial species have large data access and image access. And actually, they can play back this as like a hologram in the air. So you can actually play this back like a movie screen that's not there. Yeah, all this knowledge does exist in the universe. They have access to it and they'll play it back. You'll see that when full disclosure is made, you'll see that playback.
Awesome. Okay, will 45 successfully block the freedom of the press?
Well, block, I think, is too severe a word, but he's certainly going to limit the amount of free speech. But that's going to happen because of monetary advertising back end.
Okay.
So when advertisers aren't supporting the channel, a lot of these channels are going to have to lean into 45 talking points in order to maintain an audience. So
Okay.
it's an economic driven situation here. Yeah, I do see that, and you're already seeing that with you know, Joe Scarborough, right? And what happened around that whole situation going down
Yeah,
to
how bad
45.
did it get? Because I don't watch it at all. I heard
Well,
everybody
a
was
lot of
angry.
backlash. He and Mika, his wife, a lot of backlash for going down there and kissing the ring, so to speak. So they tried to change their strategy around MSNBC, Morning Joe, in order to maintain an audience. So yeah,
But it backfired.
it did backfired. Yeah,
Are
but
they
MSN,
going, are they going down or do you know?
uh, I think it looks to me like for the next year, they're going to go through a very difficult period of trying to regain their audience and figure out where their land legs are. It does look that way. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bad choice.
Hmm.
Will the US and the world be ready for the next pandemic?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. A lot of advances in the drug manufacturing and things we learned through the last couple of pandemics. The next pandemic for me is something like 100 years out, 100 years out. So it's not right around the
Good
corner.
news.
But some of the pandemics, believe it or not, have either been here on Earth for millions of years and then just come into humanity, or others have come from space. So space meteors, they've now proven that organisms, all types of organisms and viruses, can live out in the brutality of space. But
Wow,
when those meteors come and crash to Earth, that's how those organisms get on Earth. Yeah,
that's amazing.
yeah.
Okay, now this is an interesting question. What was NATO's Mark Rutte recent visit to Mar-a-Lago about? Anything other than Putin, like election interference intel?
No, I get primarily he was asked by the NATO countries to come out and have a dialogue with 45 about anything that he might be able to do to deter any kind of a world war, like NATO countries saying you have Putin's ear 45? Could you kind of start working on that? Because I felt like the NATO countries are getting very skittish right now about, getting involved. That's primarily what I saw for the whole situation. It's like it's a call out from NATO countries. If you have any kind of an inroad with Putin, 45, do it. Yeah.
You know, there's there was an ambulance and Secret Service at the White House,
Hmm.
and they hush-hushed it. Now, this is hearsay on this part, but they said it happened when this meeting was going on, and it was Trump that had to be put in the ambulance. Something caused him a lot of stress. If it's true, this is hearsay.
Yeah, I don't psychically, I don't get that it was a medical event for Trump, but I get it was some sort of a transfer of Trump. So like moving him somewhere, I got something like maybe there was a security threat that I could put more security threat and we have to move him rather than I have a heart attack.
Yeah, there
So
was tons of Secret Service around.
yeah.
I see a lot of criticism of Merrick Garland. Does he have the best interest of the people of the US at heart, or were there outside influences?
You know what I get on that is that he realized early on the deck was completely stacked against him in the Department of Justice. Like there are certain plants there. They
Yes,
were
I
going to
knew
work.
that.
We're going to work against anything that was done there. And he not a popular decision, but he came to the decision that if I try to push a lot of these cases forward, I already know who's going to like work behind the scenes to derail it. So very difficult situation. Yeah. I get he had the best interest of the country, but realized it would get
I
derailed.
also feel he gets stuck. He can't seem to move forward very fast or
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
He's a Libra. Um, Linda Sterling, Guides and Spirit Team. Does Harris vacation in Hawaii have anything to do with NASA Center for Cybersecurity, Cyber Warfare Intercept Center on Oahu? Or is she merely on vacation?
I guess it's a little bit of both. The NSA centers, there's maybe 6 of them around the country. I think the headquarters is back east. I don't know if that's in Washington or Virginia or something, but there is an NSA head facility in Hawaii, which is where she's at. I get it was there's dual role, like a little R&R, and have some video conference calls with the NSA when she was there. Yeah,
Wow. And his daughter, her husband's daughter, had a breakdown after she lost. And
I heard
apparently
that.
there's a real good place out there for the daughter to get care.
Yeah, I heard that in the news. Yeah, very
Yeah.
unfortunate. Yeah.
Will Elon Musk lose his citizenship?
No, as a matter of fact, I see them fast tracking a citizenship form. So almost like, the kind of behind the scenes, the shenanigans they played with um, 45's wife, right? Which is like coming over here on the Einstein visa.
Yeah.
There's I see some sort of a workaround the system. Yeah, no, I see him trying to accelerate a citizenship form
Well,
interestingly enough.
eventually he loses citizenship when Trump's out of office.
I still don't see that. Yeah, I see
Okay.
that once he gets citizenship, and I keep getting they're going to fast track it. They're going to play some sort of a game and figure out a way to do it. Yeah,
Because President Biden on the social media told everybody that he came into this country illegally. He came here, he was supposed to go to school. He
right. It's true.
acted like he was signing up for school, and then he turned around and worked. So basically, he's not a US citizen. That's what the president said.
And I believe that's all true, but I believe they're also going to find a way to make that all right. So,
Okay.
they're going to play games behind the scenes here. Yeah.
Okay, this is another good one. We got some good questions.
Mm.
Will the worth of the US dollar go down by the end of 24 or in 2025?
Yeah, I see a lot of cycles, like half a dozen cycles of up and down, but I don't see the dollar crashing. Maybe that's behind the question. That I see that by and large, the US dollar is going to maintain a stability worldwide still.
Good.
But yeah, there'll be cycles. Mhm.
Okay. Will NATO get involved with getting 45 out?
Well, I think they're already sharing information with like the Five Eyes, the Five Eyes around the world, the 5 countries that align on security issues, UK, US, New Zealand, I'm sure I forgot a couple here, but yeah, I see that NATO working with the Five Eyes organization to share information and intelligence around the election interference. I do see that.
Okay. What is going to happen to Social Security and Medicare?
Well, it's going to go through a little bit of a disruptive period. I don't want to worry anybody. I don't see payments being stopped, but I do see an effort to recalculate benefits using different metrics behind the scenes, like completely coming up with a new method to calculate what benefits you should receive. Are you getting a pension, and how does that counteract with Social Security? But it looks to me like whenever I've looked at this, the final number comes out about the same. So they go through a whole different metric and calculation, but the end result is everybody's pretty much made whole. But a little bit of a slowdown there. I don't think they're going to stop payments, but maybe it's a delay. Yeah.
Isn't it this going to take years to take place?
It looks like a lot going on in 2025 in terms of recalculations and all that. Yeah, for me.
Well, he's got to get the money somewhere to give to his rich friends.
Right, right.
Will the inauguration be delayed?
I do see chaos around the inauguration January 20th because it looks like it's a neck and neck fight. Believe it or not, it's still between 45 and Kamala with information that comes out. So I do see some disruption around that date, whether it actually takes place right on that date or there's some delay or something going on here. I don't know. What do you pick up?
Oh, yeah, I see the White House in a stalemate, like they can't move forward. Something's come up. Some sort of investigations come up. Oh, he's going to be furious.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons 45 knows what's going on, right? He knows everything that went on. And that's one of the reasons he's racing ahead with all the cabinet picks.
Yeah, and he's not talking about I won. He's not doing that.
Yeah.
How much longer before we get proof of life on Jupiter's moon, Europa?
I get like by next year, because like there's a NASA vehicle that's already going to be there in 2025. And I don't know if the NASA vehicle is named Europa as well. But it's interesting. It's not the kind of life that people are thinking. It's like organisms. So it's not human beings, Homo sapiens sapiens. It's like organisms. So, microscopic. I'm getting that there's severe or high levels of radiation in that area. So it's not going to be the kind of, life forms that people expect, but still, and they just told me that whatever it is going to be like buried in large bodies of water. So large bodies of water. So it's not even really on the ground per se or the surface. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. Will the gold reserves back in the US be safe?
Yeah, I get that they will. And I think the gold reserves right now are like $600 to $700 billion, something like that. And half of that's like in Fort Knox in Kentucky. Yeah, it's not going anywhere. So I don't see anybody rob Fort Knox. I know some of those stories go around, right? That, nothing's left in Fort Knox but a box of Cheerios or something, it's like all the gold's gone. I get it's still there. Yeah.
Well, Trump will probably back his car up like he did with our secret information, our intel, and pick up gold as much as he can because he's got to fill his coffers.
You and I talked about that when 45 was leaving the White House. There was a party white van backed up, and people were like, "What's going on? What's going on?" And I think you and I said they're loading up documents. They're loading up, Lincoln's bus. They're loading up documents, and sure enough, they
and he took actual, like the bust of Abraham Lincoln. He took actual artifact that belonged to the White House. They got that back.
Whatever happened to that, by the way, is the Lincoln bus still gone? I forget. Or is
no, they got it back.
They got it back. I lost track of what happened.
There's some stuff they didn't get back.
Yeah.
And the first thing he's going to do is take down President Obama's portrait. So did Elon Musk help Trump win the election?
For entertainment purposes only, without a doubt. And some of it was direct and some of it was indirect. So the direct things a lot of people saw, like massive donations to the PAC and then $1 million lotteries to get voters to come to that side. All the indirect stuff had to do with data transfer. Let's just put, I don't want to get too far into this, but data transfer. Yeah.
Will judges order states to count provisional ballots?
I asked that question again. I missed the first part.
Will judges order states to count provisional ballots?
100%, 100%. And I
Oh,
believe it's still going on right now. So, provisional ballots are all the ones where people voted, said, I have the right to vote, but maybe their signature wasn't validated or something of that nature. So 100%, I see a lot of provisional ballots, judges upholding that, counting them. Yeah. And I think that's part of the reason some of I think Kamala now maybe, well, 45 got below 50%. So he doesn't have the majority of the popular vote anymore.
right.
Yeah, but provisional ballots are going to get counted. Yeah, judges will uphold it. I see it.
I saw today that President Biden is pushing through judges. Will he be able to get the other 23 in before January 3rd?
I don't know why, but I get like 16 to 20 or something. I'm not sure it's all the 23 judges. I don't
I see
know.
a good chunk.
Yeah, and I heard 16 to 20. So a good chunk of them, yeah, but not all of them.
So, with the ambulance at Mar-a-Lago, we might have just discussed this tonight. And them saying basically nothing to see here. Did something really happen and you just went over
Yeah, I
that?
think we just went through that one. Yeah, in advance. Uh-huh.
Sterling, do you see President Biden addressing the nation anywhere from now until mid-December?
It looks to me like an announcement does come from Biden in December. I don't know if it's right by mid-December. It could be. I feel it's more, yeah, it could be earlier in December than later, but I do see an announcement coming regarding some of the irregularities in the election.
So my question is, Jack Smith is doing the final paperwork. And
Hmm.
today they were discussing that he actually has the receipts of Trump paying for people to fly and paid for their hotel and their meals to come do this insurrection. Does Merrick Garland have to say, okay, put that out in public, or will that be found and distributed amongst the peoples?
Jack Smith has got a lot of documentation, and I do see a good portion of documentation coming out to the media, which means it'll
Oh,
come out to
good.
the public. But it looks like there's still a lot of redacted information, those reports for some reason, like for security reasons, can't be released. And now that's because I see when I look at the documents visually, I see a lot of redactions in the
Well,
documents. So,
Trump's going to try to dispose of anything.
of course,
Do
yeah.
you see Jack being able to hold on to some sort of electric, uh, some sort of ability to keep these until it's time to come out again?
I get that by the time Jack Smith leaves, it looks like he's on a path to leave. That it's just all going to be in the hands of the DOJ and it's going to get locked up in a vault. Yeah.
Yeah, but if Trump is having his people run the DOJ, they'll destroy it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's going to get locked up behind the scenes, whether they actually destroy it or not, lock it up in a vault that never sees the light of day. For some reason, I feel like they're going to hang on to some information just so they know what the government had on them, and they can because you want to have some sort of defense if it ever leaks out. So
Yeah. Well, he's not going to last. My opinion is he might last 2 years. And I see
yeah.
him being accumulating information of him being a traitor. And I saw this last year, but it wasn't the last time. It's this
Mhm.
time where they take him out and say you were, and then he goes down physically, health wise.
No, I agree. And I talked about on the show that I put up on our channel today is that I
Okay.
saw that whenever this information comes out regarding the manipulation of the election, who helped with offshore sources, that it will, in fact, short term his presidency, if at all, it'll actually pull him back out. So yeah, it'll be
Yeah,
short term. He may not even last 2 years, maybe faster than that. Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking so much is coming out, and I don't see him being able to get his MAGA Congress to work for him like he did before. I just feel like too many people are saying, no, you need to do security clearances, you need to do this and that. That's what I see.
I see there's a good chunk of Congress that's not going to fall in line of the GOP. So, and you're seeing some of that with the administration, the cabinet picks, is that, crazy is one thing, but then too crazy is another story. And there are even some GOP saying, look, that person has no ability to be in that position. Yeah.
Well, he's asking Bondi and he's asking Kennedy. These people would know education to be able to run that department.
Yeah,
None
exactly.
whatsoever. somebody he wants running the health department got her degree in the Caribbean. Okay, what do you see coming up this week?
We alluded to some of it here, but there's still a few more cabinet picks and some shuffling around the cabinet picks with 45. I still see with the head of the Department of Defense. I don't think he's going to make it. That's the one that's up there right
Oh,
now.
the one from Fox News?
Yeah, it looks like he's not going to make it through.
I definitely see him not making
I
it.
see a lot of discussions around Gabbard, right? Department National
She's on the
Intelligence.
no-fly. She can't even
Yeah,
fly.
I see this should be the next one that they kind of like help strike down. I do see information leaking out from the federal government regarding some of the irregularities in the election. It's going to leak out in the press. You know, there are going to be some things coming out here. So yeah, we're a little bit of a washing machine right now, a little bit of a washing machine mode before the washer stops and spin dry, and so look for a lot more chaos this week.
Is there a possibility that Donald Trump does not become the 47th president?
It is. It's a close race, meaning does all this information come out prior to January 20th or right after January 20th? Because I always saw, and I said this on my channel, I saw Kamala Harris being inaugurated January 20th. I saw her being inaugurated.
It might not be the 20th, but I always saw
Right.
the White House sort of empty, like Biden has to hold the fort down until they sort all this out.
I agree with all that. So that's why I always tell people, this is information. I consider myself a telephone to the other side. Information comes through, happy to share it. But everybody does have to let the dust settle in the universe, right? The dust has to settle. And I think people do get very wrapped up around the axle, so to speak. If it doesn't happen exactly the way they want to see it right away, then they go berserk. But then as time goes on, you go, oh, that's the way it was supposed to work. It worked out the way it was supposed to work. So
That's great. That's
yeah.
great. Do you guys have anything that they want to share?
Yeah, simple message this week. I would say don't engage directly in conflict, but be ready to listen to anybody else that has a different opinion and share your truth. So like, don't readily engage in conflict. This is not about, violent back and forth, but everybody needs to kind of stay in their own truth and help move the truth forward, but don't engage in conflict. So,
like somebody said on one of on those social things. The bankrupt California, Gavin Newsom, he's supposed to get this much money from the federal government. How about if we just don't give him any of the money? I said, oh, that'll be good, because then that way we don't have to give the Washington the billions of dollars that we give to help support the red states. So
exactly.
That was a conflict.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so
and you can't talk to people like that.
Yeah, a lot of mud being thrown around, a lot of mud back and forth.
Yeah. And I like to throw mud on occasion. So
all good.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Well, I always like to mention, if anybody needs to reach me, just go to sterlingpsychicmedium.com, look for the book session tab, very straightforward from there. And we still do live sessions, live streams on Friday mornings for our platinum members, and you can join the platinum membership easily. There's a join button on the YouTube channel. What's that? You are.
Oh.
In fact, we actually we had you live on one of the first or second shows where you answered
I asked a question and you were dead right with what we needed to do.
Exactly. Yeah. So we have a lot of fun on those. And because we do it live, we get an entire range of questions. You'd be surprised, all the questions from, what was my birth time to what happened to my ring to, all sorts of interesting personal questions. So
that is so cool. Can I ask you real quick?
No.
Have you gotten any hits from the ETs, or are they observing us, or are they worried about Ukraine?
Yeah, no, completely involved in parts of Europe and Russia and Ukraine right now. There's a lot of surveillance going on. So people in those countries are already seeing UAPs, UFOs, and things going in the ocean. There's a lot of bases in the ocean. So they're watching for any conflict over there that's nuclear based. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll stop it for sure.
They will, because they really don't want to see humanity annihilated. It's not
right. Well, Russia just blew up 2 of their silos because they were trying to send up something, and it blew inside, so it was destroyed.
Yeah, and they already test fired a ballistic missile, long range ballistic missile. earlier this week, they're threatening to do another one, but no warhead on it, no nuclear warhead. So that's here again, going full circle. I think that's why the NATO head came over to visit 45 and said, look, if you could talk in Putin's ear, tell him like all going the wrong direction here. And NATO doesn't want to be involved. And, I think they're really trying to give Putin an off ramp somehow, because, this is as bad as it sounds, it's a pride factor for Putin. So you have to give him an off ramp somehow to get him
Yeah.
out of this. Yeah.
So the ETs are still helping us, working around,
100%.
double checking.
Yeah.
Do you see Putin kind of blowing up pretty soon, like burning out or something? Anything? No?
I do see a large, like his ministry and his cabinet trying to talk him down from the ledge, saying like, this is going way too far because,
Because I feel like he's losing his mind.
yeah, I've always seen he has some sort of a disease, the neurological thing going on. And I'm not an expert, I'm not a doctor, but it's like a neurological thing that causes you to see the world completely differently,
Yeah, like
Um,
Hitler.
yeah. Like there's a neurological thing going on there. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we just pray and put the white light around this earth and hope for the best. Thank you so
Absolutely,
much.
absolutely.
Thank you so much, Sterling.
Of
And
course you're good.
sometimes we don't get specifics. It could very well mean he doesn't get in office, but we can't take that to the bank because it changes. It changes. But the good news is he didn't get the majority. He did not get the majority.
He did not. He slipped below 50%, I think, this past week, and I think it's actually still headed downward. So yeah.
Good.
All
All right.
righty.
Well, thank you everybody for coming. I'll see you next month after
Uh,
Christmas, I think.
Yep, all the best. Yeah.
All right.
Have a happy holiday, everybody, and
Happy
we'll
holiday.
see you soon.
Cheers.